me, like, are you sure you want to record? Yes, we do. Okay. So, when when we hit the turbulence and the shit hits the fan and I get my seatbelt on, I look to the flight attendant. Do y'all do that? I totally do that. Because I'm like, if they're freaking out, I'm going to freak out. Because they do this a lot. But if they look chill, I'm going to be chill with them. So, like, I clip in and then I take a look and they're just sitting there reading, they're like flipping their book. They are being a thermostat. So thermostats regulate the environment around them, right? Versus a thermometer that's like, what's going on? And I'm just going to react to that and bring my mercury up to here, right? So, for example, that would be the flight attendant being like, oh no, everybody's freaking out. Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, let me make sure everything, and like acting all frantic, right? Because they're going off of the temperature of the area. So that is not helpful, right? And I don't know if that's part of their official training, but I'm sure it is. It's like, hey, people are going to look to you when something totally normal but scary happens, and you need to keep your shit together. Right? And so, like, for me, that totally makes sense. They become a thermostat, they can impact the people around them, right? So, the be the thermostat and not the thermometer, you know, I want to invite you to think of the concept like, what if we realized we were the emotional thermostats, right? What if we realized we were the emotional thermostats of the room that we're in? And we have an impact on everybody around us. I'm going to look for this Thich Nhat Hanh quote. Okay, so he says, when the crowded refugee boats were met with storms or pirates, if everyone panicked, all would be lost. But if even one person remained calm and centered, it was enough. They showed the way for everyone to survive, right? Gee, I wonder who that was on his boat. So I want to take a moment to give gratitude to Thich Nhat Hanh, also known as Thai. That's his like people who knew him well, for whom he was a teacher, called him Thai, Thay, and because he passed away this month. So many great teachings from him. He has transitioned to the next thing. Okay, and I just love this teaching because it's like, why do we practice? Why does it matter? Why do we meditate or do yoga? And why do we like do any of that shit? Right? To me, it's because I want to have less suffering and to also help others have less suffering, right? Now, you've all experienced this, right? Maybe you've been in a room and it feels a certain way and someone new walks in and the energy shifts. It maybe they raise the vibration. You're like, yay, I'm so glad they showed up. Oh my gosh, like they totally shifted the energy in the room. Or maybe it like wasn't so great. But either way, we acknowledge we do this, right? So, and I've seen this when, in my various professions, I've shown up in different stressful situations, right? So, like, one of my superpowers is being calm in a super stressful situation. Not super stressful, like traffic or running late for something. I wouldn't say that I turn that on so much. I still freak out, like, what the fuck? I'm running late. But I mean, like, disasters or emergencies or epics, right? Like when I worked in the ER and a new trauma came in, right? By the way, I cannot do this when there's emergencies involving animals because like a part of my brain just turns off if I hear an animal suffering. I'm just like, what the what? Like I get so sad and I start crying if I hear an animal suffering. And so this applies to humans. If you're a human suffering, I got you. Okay? I got you. Or when I was a midwife and I'd get called to a birth that was like going sideways or something. And I'd walk into the room and everybody was super anxious, right? or when I was guiding and there was a big rock fall or an avalanche was set off or a boat flips or something, right? One of the things that I would hear from my clients is, oh, when you walked in, I felt a shift, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm anything special. I'm telling you this because you do too. You impact a room when you walk in, whether you want to or not, right? But the degree to which you do and how you do that is up to you, right? It just so happens that my professions like required it of me to be able to enter into a scene and like shift things, right? So it was very intentional, right? Like the flight attendant. And but that wasn't always my like default. Sometimes I have to fake it to make it because I knew that if I lost it, everyone else would too, right? But the more you do that, it comes more naturally. So, this capacity we have is well known in Buddhism. I mean, you heard the quote from Thich Nhat Hanh that I read earlier, right? Um, and I saw a few people come on. Okay, they want me to reread it. Yeah, so Thich Nhat Hanh said, when the crowded refugee boat met with storms or pirates, if everyone panicked, all would be lost. But if one person remained calm and centered, it was enough. They showed the way for everyone to survive, right? So when we practice, when we meditate, when we do yoga, when we listen to podcasts, show up here, when we're learning skills to free our minds from getting hooked by emotions, right? Because when we get hooked, we're more like thermometers and we're reactionary based on what's going on or what we think is going on, right? But what if we could be that person that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about in our own lives, right? To be that touch of calm in the center of the storm of life, or the touch of positivity or of hope or of kindness, right? Of humor. What if we could be that person that shifts everything when we show up? Like we decide, I want to raise the vibration and bring some more compassion into this scene, bring some more love into this scene, right? Like I had a client that was struggling with her friend group currently she's noticing that she's outgrowing her friend group. They spend a lot of time talking shit, gossiping, this kind of thing. And it's like, well, what do we do in that situation, right? I have a whole episode on this about gossiping, so you could like go there and check that out for more tips. But one of the things we talked about was you could be the change that you want to see here. We don't always have to make other people change or call shit out, even though it's super powerful when that's done skillfully, right? We can also be that change, right? We can come in and change the conversation. Or if someone tries to gossip with us, we can say, oh, that's not my story to tell. Or, yeah, I don't feel comfortable talking about someone when they're not here, right? And we could be that. And then what happens? People think that what happens is people get all like, oh, what the fuck? And maybe they do, but let me tell you what happens on a deeper level. They feel safe with you. Like Thich Nhat Hanh said, right? You give them the capacity to survive. Being a human's fucking hard. The last thing we need is people talking shit, bringing the vibe down, stressing us out, like creating drama, all of that. No. So when you practice, when you take care of yourself, when you exercise, get good sleep, meditate, do your thought work, right? Practice the things that we're learning here. When you do that, you create the capacity to be the thermostat instead of the thermometer, right? To be able to walk into a room and change and have an impact on the environment and the people there, right? And you have the capacity, you're already doing this. So what I want to invite you to do is to do this more intentionally. Know that when you walk around, what you do and say and how you show up matters. I remember It made such a big impact on me. In the New Yorker, I was reading an article called Jumpers, and it was about people who had survived after jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge. And interestingly, they all regretted it, FYI. But one of the stories that was really impactful to me was they had found a note from this one guy who survived, and he talked about this too in the article. It said, like, if only one person smiles on me, I mean, smiles at me while well, smiles on me, that sounds nice too. Like, I love on you, I'll smile on you. If only one person does that as I'm walking across the bridge, I won't jump. Almost makes me cry every time I think about it, but it does make me cry, obviously. I'm already snotty, damn it. But like, no one smiled at him, y'all. This dude was just walking across the bridge, just super high traffic. And no one smiled at him. And he fucking jumped. Right? So, like, how do we want to have an impact on the world? How do we want to make a difference? How do we want to show up and influence those around us? I want to call you to action, to intentionally decide the impact you want to have. And I want to plead with you that that be more kindness and more laughter, more humor, more compassion, more love, because we need so much more of that, right? So we can assess a situation. That's a good social skill, to just know what you're walking into, but we don't have to react to it like a thermometer. We can say, all right, getting a little chilly in here. I'm going to turn this shit up. Okay? And smile. Smile at people. You never know the impact it's going to have. Okay? That's what I have for you today, my loves. Check out the pod. It's going to drop tomorrow. Also, I'm going to be doing if you're part of Revel, which is this kind of online social group, I'm going to be doing a psychedelic Q&A for them on Friday. But if you're not in that group, I will be doing another one in general the following week. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that. And head to adventuremastermind.com because we're doing some fun, awesome retreats with altered states and deep dives and upping the game in our practice for 6 months. And I'd love to see you there, okay? So go out there, be the change, be the thermostat, not the thermometer, okay? Mwah! I love you all. Ciao. Oh, you're welcome, Catherine. Thank you. I will feel better. I feel pretty good. All things considered. Ciao. Oh, you're welcome.